Hi guys, my name's Michaela, and today I'll be talking about the idolization of professional athletes. So when thinking about what I was going to do for this project, I tried to brainstorm things that just don't really make sense to me in America. And these two questions kind of popped up in my head, so I'm going to ask you guys, what was the average salary for a brain surgeon in Ohio in 2023? Any guesses? Yeah.
600,000.
Pretty much, yeah. It was $661,000, so pretty high, sounds like a good life, right? But now, how much money did LeBron James make into 2023? Yeah.
60 million.
Higher.
Ooh.
Yeah.
150 million.
150?
Yeah.
Lower.
100 million.
It was $119.5 million. So that's a big, jump from a brain surgeon to a professional athlete, and that's just something I've kind of always wondered, where's the money coming from? How did they earn all of this money? So I kind of started with looking at that. So according to salary, based on how much they make, they can make money off of on-field sources or off-the-field sources. And so on-the-field sources come from things like contract signing bonuses, performance incentives. So according to Chiefs Wire, this last Super Bowl, every person on the roster of the winning team made $164,000 just for being on the team that won. And then the losing team, they still made $89,000 for the game. So it's fine that they lost because they still made a lot of money. And so I kind of thought that was just kind of crazy. But in this picture here, it's a funny picture, but it shows, it screams money for me, because not only did he win money for playing the game, he won money, for saying, I'm going to Disney World. Everything that, they do can earn them money. And so in their contracts, there's also a few different factors. So there's things called guaranteed salary, and that's the NBA and the MLB. They have guaranteed contracts, so they can sign a 5-year contract, and then even if they get cut from the roster before that 5 years is up, they're still making that total 5-year salary that they were promised in that contract. So even if they flunk and all of a sudden they're horrible, they're still making all of that money from their contract. And then there's also salary caps, which are good for a few reasons, because it's basically a league sets an amount that a team is allowed to spend on the entire team's roster or individual players. Most leagues do by roster instead of by player, but salary caps limit the financial risk of teams and also keep the higher revenue teams from signing all of the top players. So the highest revenue team right now is the Chiefs, and so if there were no salary caps, then they would just get everybody, because they'd be handing out money like it's candy, right? And then, so talking about LeBron, so $119.5 million, only $45 million of that was made directly from the sport that he plays. So that means that there was $75 million that he earned off the court. So the majority of what he made in 2023 was not from his athletic ability, it's from who he is. So these come from sources such as endorsement deals with companies who capitalize off of the fame of the athlete, and also public appearances, public speaking, merchandising, all of that kind of thing. And then next, their platform. So according to Making an Impact, over half of Americans with social media follow either pro teams or pro athletes. And the same source found that 60% of these followers follow not just for athletic content, but also for personal life content of these players, which shows that they catch the attention of the public through their athletic success, but then they keep that going because of who they are and the name that they have. And this is also seen because in this survey, 90% of these followers also stated that they would continue to follow these athletes once they retire, because they're more interested in the personal content necessarily than the athletic content. And then the use of the platform. So this could be a really good thing if you think about it, because a lot of professional athletes are advocates for societal issues, and they use the influence that their fans give them in a good way, right? So JJ Watt, known for his philanthropy, and he began his own campaign to support Hurricane Harvey, and he raised $37 million according to Galvez just in his campaign that he started, not including the money that he donated himself, which is a huge thing because it's not just using the money he makes in his sport, but it's using his platform to have other people also make more of a difference than he can make on his own. And then impact, one of the most common things that we see with professional athletes is youth development. So for example, the LeBron James I Promise School serves Akron area kids that are underprivileged and gives them the mentors, the programs, and the support that they need to succeed in school, which is a problem in certain areas, like how LeBron grew up as well. But some of the reasons they become role models is this youth development programs that a lot of them make. But is it too much that they become role models? So in this national survey done, they found that kids ages 0 to 17, not 0 because you know they can't talk, but it says 0 to 17 said that athletes fall second to parents of who kids look up to the most and want to be when they grow up. So I mean that's a cool thing, but like in the survey they found a lot of also alarming statistics. So they found that 24% of these same kids said that it's okay to not try to succeed in school if you are successful in sports, and 13% said that it's okay to use drugs if you are good at sports, and 18% that said that there's no need to worry about consequences of sex if you are good at sports, which is really bad. We don't want our kids learning that, right? So that's just kind of a way where it's like we can also like make them role models too much. We can idolize them too much, and that leads to making excuses for their bad behavior as well. So a negative case of exaggerating professional athletes' impact on society is Mel Hall. I don't know if anyone's heard of him. He was a professional baseball player for the Cubs, the Indians, and the Yankees, and he retired. And then in 2009, he was trialed for raping a 12-year-old girl who was on the youth basketball team that he coached. And so he did get sentenced to 40 years in prison. But the problem is that some people thought this was too much time in prison for him because it was just one rape. And I don't know about you guys, but I think that 40 years is like not enough. Like I don't know, I think that's crazy. But according to staff, his defense attorney went on record after the trial saying that for all the good this man has done in his life, it seems like an excessive verdict. And for me, I don't think playing professional sports makes you a good person. Like maybe you're really athletic, but it speaks nothing on your character, in my opinion. So idolization, I kind of already touched on like how we idolize athletes in America, but just celebrity culture in general. Celebrities become famous because we make them famous, and they stay famous because we keep them famous. So it's kind of just like a cycle, and it happens with athletes as well. And then fans also get emotionally like attached to teams and athletes. I mean, I've done it myself. Like it's easy to kind of like see them and be like, oh, they're really cool, like follow, you know. And so, but this leads to them becoming symbols of identity, pride, and belonging for fans. So we kind of take them and we put them on a pedestal when like they are normal people that just have a lot more talent than we probably do ourselves. And so I don't really know why. There's not really a straight answer, but some of the things that I think are that there might be a little jealousy, there might be us living vicariously through them because they have a lot of things that we ourselves want, whether that's talent, money, fame, lots of different things, but things that we know deep down that we're probably never going to achieve unless you guys are really good athletes. I don't know, but so then that kind of leads into Masters of Desire. So some symbols that athletes represent are the American dream itself. So in Masters of Desire, Solomon says that Americans dream of rising above the crowd and attaining what's beyond the reach of ordinary citizens. So if we look at professional athletes, a lot of them probably like are the definition of that. A lot of them came from nothing and made a lot for themselves and then gave back to where they were from. And I think for a lot of people that could be the definition of the American dream. And so I think when we see that, it's like, oh, they have everything. And then we put like these symbols on them and say that they represent achievement and excellence. And then it's like they have all these status symbols that we kind of would like to have ourselves, but we know that we won't. So then we idolize them and we're like look at them, like I want to be them, and look at all the good they do. And we kind of fantasize. And in this Masters of Desire, he also says that America is a nation of fantasizers. And I think that's really what it boils down to, is just they have like all these things that are seem so like unattainable to us because I mean I'm never gonna go pro, like but they have so much money and we just put them like on a pedestal, like I said. So in conclusion I just kinda asked, should we be idolizing professional athletes the way that we do? And I think it's okay to a certain extent until we get to the level where kids are placing them on such a high pedestal that they think the things that I stated are okay, and that we're making excuses for their bad behavior because they're just people, they don't have any more right to do things than we do. Thank you. Yeah.
You talk about like, you talk about athletes and like their kind of pedestals they're on because of the platforms and all that and things that they can do. And you know, J. Watt and his being able to do good for Hurricanes. Do you think that because they do that, should they be allowed to also use that platform, say for like politics and like that, or do you think that they need to kind of stay in their lanes? And obviously everyone has the right to freedom, but I think watching LeBron talk about Trump and all that, do you think that a person like that, do you think they need to rephrase the way they put things, or do you think they have the right to just be very blunt? And
I think they can like speak their opinions, but also they know that so many people are watching that I think that like they have a responsibility to like not say stupid stuff. Like I don't know, you can say what you feel, but like don't, I don't know, like make it like obnoxious, I guess. Like I mean that's just how I feel as every person too. I don't believe anyone should be obnoxious about like their opinions and their beliefs and the way they feel. So I think kind of like yes and no. Like they can say whatever they want because everybody can, but it's like that many people are listening and maybe a lot of kids, so it's just like watch what you say a little bit more.
You had any conflict between a team you like and players that you're not so sure about?
No, not really. I hate Patrick Mahomes, but I just can't listen to his voice.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Good job.